Hello everyone, this is Sharon with the Cozy Gent Studio, and we are going to be doing a few projects today, getting ready for Christmas. This first project is a tray. I bought about 4 of these. There was probably a stack of 10. I probably should have got more. I think they were $2 a piece, if you could see that little green sticker. To save time, I went ahead and painted this Manor Green by Fusion. I'll have the links in the description box below. You can get these products at Aunt Bee's Attic. Don't forget, she has $9 flat rate shipping for any amount of stuff that you order. Now, this is a new stencil that I ordered from Jamie Ray Vintage. Aunt Bee's Attic also has some of Jamie Ray Vintage Jamie Ray Vintage stencils, but I'm not sure if she has this one. I will link this in the description box below. This is a Christmas folk art stencil. I have several other of Jamie Ray Vintage folk art stencils, and I love them, but I haven't used them, so we are going to use a couple today. This one I'm going to put on this tray. I am using the DIY Debbie's Design Diary clay paint in the color Crinoline. It's a creamy off-white. I'm trying to finish up a jar that I have. I do sell these products at both of my Hickory, North Carolina and Hudson, North Carolina booths at Antique Corner Mall and the Hickory Antique Mall in Hickory. If you want to order them offline, you can get them at Aunt Bee's Attic. Because this stencil does not fit perfectly in this tray, I'm going to go ahead and use some masking tape to tape this off. Now, when I pulled it off, it did pull off some of the paint, so I did have to go back and fix that. Probably painter's tape would have been better, but I was probably too lazy to just go grab some, and I had this sitting right by my desk. I'm going to be using a sponge dauber to do this with. I don't know. I have some stencil brushes, and I thought about using one of them, and I thought, well, let me use this dauber, and I feel like either way, this was going to be a little bit of time consuming just because it was such a large piece. I mean, it wasn't maybe 10 minutes. I don't know. I didn't really time it, and I'm speeding this up, but I just used a dauber, and I went over it a couple times to make sure that I got a good coat on here. So I just did my best to make sure that I got in all of the spaces. I didn't really mind if it didn't get completely crisp on all the edges because it gives it more of a worn look. And if you don't want to do 2 coats on top of this, you can just do one, and it gives it definitely more of a see-through rustic look. Now here's where I'm pulling it off, and you can see there are some mistakes on this. So first of all, I'm going to have to go back and fix that green and paint it to cover where it pulled off. And there is some paint that I'm going to have to cover back up with the green. And then down on the bottom right corners, the pattern of the stencil fell off, and I only have those holly leaves, and I'm going to just touch those up. But overall, I love this stencil. Isn't this image just gorgeous? I decided that I didn't. Okay, so first of all, I put a coat of DIY Debbie Design Diary Big Top Sealer on this, and it gave it a little bit of a sheen, which is fine. But I decided that I was going to go ahead and use the DIY Pennies from Heaven Copper just to go around the edge top of this tray. I don't put it really anywhere else. I wanted to give it just a hint of glimmer for the Christmas season, and I feel like this really just finished this off. You know, I love the Rub and Buff, but I really wanted a little bit of copper on this tray with that dark green. You all know I love green, and that dark green is just banging. It is gorgeous on there with that cream crinoline paint. You all will have to let me know in the comments below if you like this one. Our next project is some papier-mâché reindeer. I have collected 3 of these over the summer and spring, and I thought that we would upcycle a couple of them today. We are going to give these a good coat of the chalk paint from Folk Art in sheepskin. You can see that this one was $2.99 from AC Moore. Who knows how long ago? I'm not sure what I paid for these. Probably no more than $3 a piece. These are going to be a beautiful staple in someone's Christmas decor because they are going to go into my antique booths for sale. I have this piece of very glittery decor that came in that lot of Christmas stuff that I got. I rarely buy anything that's completely covered in glitter because it makes such a mess. So I'm just cutting off a few pieces here, And I decided that I needed to do something about this glitter, so I went and got my hairspray and I just sprayed each piece with it to calm that glitter down. I let it dry and then started using it again. So I forgot to put a top coat on these before I started putting, what I'm making is a wreath to go around their necks. And you'll see me do that here in a little bit. I just go ahead and do a top coat even though I got this one wreath on. I use that Big Top DIY top coat. I'm making a wreath out of these and just using some wire that came off of other things, and I'm recycling it. I always save wire, especially this is like a brown so it doesn't show up as much. So again, I'm just making a wreath, and then we're going to add some really cute things to this, and I finished a lot of this for the second one off camera as well. After I painted these that beautiful cream color, I thought that they would just look wonderful as a neutral sort of woodland look with a little bit of glimmer to them. So I got some of my pine cones. It's so funny, these pine cones are curved and they're going to work perfect to fit on this wreath. Now, I didn't want to just use hot glue because I don't want these to fall off on someone, and hopefully they'll stay together over time. So what I did is I'm using my Titebond thick glue and some hot glue to put these over the areas that I use that wire to put the wreath together so that it gets covered up, and you'll see while I'm doing this. So if you have some type of greenery or decor that's in a pick like this was, you can make a wreath just by tying it together and then shaping it into a circle. Once I got my pine cones on, I knew that I wanted to put a bow and a bell on here, so I made a bow for both of these out of this Dollar Tree ribbon, and then I had bought some of those bells that they don't look like they're rusted, they just look like they're brown and like an iron color, and they're kind of a large size, and I got them, not real large, maybe more of a medium size. I got them from Hobby Lobby, of course, for 50% off a while back when they first put their Christmas stuff out, because I have gold bells. I just didn't have any, I really wanted to put something in the center of this, but I knew that a pine cone wouldn't work, and I needed something above that bell. I dug through, I don't know what it's called, like bowl filler. I pick up bags of this stuff, and it has all these little weird dried things in it, and I found these two little white, they feel like wood, but I know they're not. They're some kind of natural, I don't know. Anyways, I glued them above the bell, and I love how they turned out. I'm just showing you here where I added that top coat to this. I thought that these were beautiful, but I really thought they needed something. So I have this Cosmic Shimmer Luna paste. Now, I've had this for a few years. It is still super creamy, and it has this, I don't know that it's glitter in it. It's more like I don't know, it's a sparkle texture in a way. And it's a champagne colored, so it just fit this beautifully. I knew that the gold Rub and Buff, which I was thinking about using, would be too yellow for this. So I pulled this out of my stash, and these ghosts, oh my gosh, these deer are going to get a good little coat of this kind of all over to give them that Christmas glimmer. I'll have a link for this in the description box below. I got mine, I think, from scrapbook.com. You all will have to let me know what you think about these. Did they need more color, or do you love the neutral look that I have given these? I really have wanted to add a lot of red and greens to my booths, so I just took a lot of different things and painted them in different colors of greens and red, and I wanted to show you this cute little box. It was very damaged, water damaged, and just so discolored. Normally, I sell these very well in their original state. They're pretty popular. But I went ahead and painted this with a coat of Aviary from DIY, Debbie's Design Diary paint. You can get that again at Aunt Bee's Attic. I'll have the link in the description box below. So right now you're just seeing me take Big Top, and I'm going to put a coat of clear coat on this because you have to seal this paint, and when you do, it brings it back to its original color. It makes it darker. This is such a beautiful color, And I didn't necessarily want every piece that I put in my booth to have something Christmas on it. I really just want some pieces that look like they could fit in with Christmas, that are either vintage or handmade. And some of these pieces that I'm making in this video is going to fit that perfectly. When I get this dry, I'm going to go ahead and do just a tad of distressing, and then I'm going to add some of my Prima Finnabair wax. It is the color Antique Bronze. I've almost used this whole little wax pod up, but we're going to try to get it finished off. I really wanted to wax those details on this, like the little handle, anything that was metal, and then some of the edges and a few places all over, just to give this a little bit of a more depth and a deeper look. I will be adding this to probably a little Christmas vignette in one of my booths. You all have to let me know what you think about this one. Now, the photos did wash it out a little bit, but they do let you see some of the details, especially with that gilding wax. Did I mention I'm adding red to my booth? So nothing was left unturned in my office. I have a bunch of things sitting painted this red color, which is Crimson by Waverly. You can buy this at Walmart. I do love the DIY marquee color as well, but I went on a little bit of a painting spree with this color. This is another one of Jamie Ray Vintage Folk Art stencils. We're going to be using it on the front of this box. Now, you will notice that this box was initially a gray color. I buy these anytime I see them. I have several of them sitting and waiting to be painted, but I also have some beautiful green ones that I'm going to be displaying in my Christmas in my own home. So I painted the outside of this box, but I didn't care that the inside is still gray. It's fine. It blends in very well. We're not stressing about it. The outside of the box is what I wanted to be red. I'm going to be using that Folk Art sheepskin paint to stencil on, just like we did before on the tray. And just like magic, it is finished. I didn't want to bore you all with all of that daubing or dabbing or whatever you want to call it. I don't know. Maybe I need to get my stencil brushes out, but I just thought that I wanted to use these sponges. So what I thought when I got this finished was, I think the top piece needs something. And I actually thought about going all the way around with these stencils, and then I thought, no, I don't want to overwhelm the piece. So I'm using a stencil that I ordered maybe on Amazon. I know Jamie Ray Vintage has some more of the borders and transfer wear stencils that I really want to get, but I am limiting myself right now. So you do see that I had some of those new. I've had those for a bit, except for the Christmas one. I did purchase that when it came out. All right, so we're just going to put this on the front of here and leave the rest of it. Once I get this stenciled on, I really want to add some of that cream colored paint to different areas of this to kind of tie the stenciling in. So I just started out with that dauber and went on the edges, trying to be very crisp and not leave a lot, but it was just smudging it. So I grabbed a paintbrush. I always like to use the flat side of a paintbrush with paint on it to do different types of techniques, and we're going to be using the side of this paintbrush to do exactly what I want it to do, which is go around those edges and leave just a little bit of a line in places. Once I got all of that on, I did do a sealer on this of my Rust-Oleum matte finish clear coat. I am taking Rub and Buff and going all around this. I did lose some footage that showed me putting it on the latch at the front and the metal handle. When I started taking photos, I just thought this needed a huge kind of laying there flouncy bow on it, and then I took pictures of it without it. Do you like it with the bow or without? I'm thinking of leaving the bow on to put it in my booth. Obviously, it's something that people could just untie. What do you think about this one? Do you pick up these file boxes, these vintage file boxes, when you thrift? And do you add things that are red and green but not really Christmas to your home decor? This next project is another box. This one is very vintage. It actually smelled like perfume or face powders. So I don't know if someone used this to store their makeup in. But I went ahead and painted it this fern color by Waverly, and I took the latch off the front because it was very damaged and did not actually latch. I'm just showing you here that I'm trimming out the inside of this with that fern. We're going to add that sheepskin by Waverly to the inside of this and to the lid. I thought about leaving the wood on the inside, but with what I want to do with this, I just didn't feel like that was going to fit my idea, so I went ahead and painted that. Now I'm just sealing this with Big Top. We're going to let that dry, and I'm going to use another stencil. I am trying so hard to use a lot of the things that I bought in these videos. I know a lot of you don't have IOD products or stencils or molds, but really this is more of an inspiration. You don't have to have these things. You can do so much more, and I do make videos showing how not to use these things. So I do want to use some of my stash. What I'm going to do with this one is I just want this deer on here. I don't want all that other stuff. So we're going to stencil this deer with the same chalk paint, and we're going to do 3 of these on the front of this. My idea was to put some decoupage paper on this lid. So I pulled out my recycled neutral masterboard Christmas paper. You can get this, I think, at Aunt Bee's Attic. I've not checked to see if it's in stock. If it is, I'll link it in the description box below. I also have this in both of my booths. If you are local, don't hesitate to go to my booths and pick these up. It will save you shipping, the cost of shipping. So I'm just measuring up how I want the paper to lay, and then I'm going to cut this out. We're going to use Mod Podge to put this on. I use Mod Podge a lot for decoupage. I also use DIY liquid patina. I really like it. Honestly, you can use a lot of things for this. The most accessible one and probably cost effective is Mod Podge. Now I have mine in this little squirt bottle. I'm just going to squirt it on, put the whole thing, cover the whole thing, and then just lay the whole paper down. You all, I don't stress too much about this because you're going to have wrinkles, and this is handmade. I do get wrinkles in this, and it doesn't really matter. I love how this turns out. Once I put that down, I just smooth it out a little bit with my fingers. I didn't use saran wrap. I probably should have, but I didn't have anything real close by, so I just added my top coat onto it. We're going to let that dry really well before we sand the edges off. In the meantime, I'm going to do the same technique that I did with that box and add these sort of little lines, not everywhere, but pretty close to everywhere, just to outline this and tie in the color of those deer and the inside with that green. Once we get those edges sanded off, I am going to add a new latch to this. I had this latch in my stash. You can get these at Hobby Lobby in their metal section where like I think it's where like the wood rounds and stuff in that area. They have like clock hands and these little latches. I'm just going to use my drill to put this on off screen. You all have to let me know which one of these projects was your favorite, and let me know about this video. I did take into consideration all the answers. A lot of people said shorter videos would be great or longer videos are fine, but a lot of people did want the shorter ones so I could get more out. So let me know what you think about this. It is a little bit shorter with fewer projects. And with that being said, I will see you all in the next video.